The Fall Line is a deep dive true crime podcast focused on cold cases that could be resolved if the public knew about them. You'll hear about missing people whose families have been searching for decades, John and Jane Doe cases from across the country in desperate need of public attention, unsolved serial homicides like the Atlanta Lovers Lane murders that never made the national news. The Fall Line digs deep, interviewing the families, law enforcement, and experts closest to the crimes to bring you cases you've never heard of and explore what can be done today to solve them. Find The Fall Line wherever you listen to podcasts.
You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever, with your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lou Need, and today I have a phenomenal guest on the show today, and we have a treat for you. We have quite a surprise in store. We have Rick DellaRatta, and he is considered by many to be one of the finest singers, pianists, performers today. And he is a jazz artist who can make successful music presentation to a large audience without abandoning the art form of jazz. Now that is crucial. And so I'm really excited to have him on the show today, talk about his journey, talk about his passion and how that has led him to live a life of purpose. So with no further ado, Rick, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. And just to tell your listeners, Dr. Lunid had this wonderful idea of starting the whole show out with a little bit of jazz. So I'm delighted. I'm honored to complete that request for you right now, live here on Outstanding Podcast. Lift me, won't you lift me above the old routine? Make it nice, play it clean, oh jazz man. Testify the faithless man believes, singing in a paradise, bring it to your knees. It's a gospel kind of feeling, touch of Georgia side, a song of pure revival, a style that sanctifies. Jazz man, take my blues, make my pain the same as yours, never a change. Oh, jazz man, jazz man. With me, won't you lift me with every turn around? Play it sweetly, take me down. Oh, Jasmine.
That was phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
You got in the groove. I mean, it was just to see the passion flow out of your face as you got into it. That was remarkable. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure, Dr. Lee.
Yes. Tell us about I know you did Jazz for Peace World Tour. And, how did you discover that jazz has the potential to bring peace?
I started to realize it when I started to really travel a lot as a musician, which started to take place just, as a sideman playing in different bands. And then it really took off when my own CDs started to come out and I started to record as a leader. And I started to travel places like Hong Kong and Brazil. I was also a piano bar entertainer. So there were two sides of me. And I used to do gigs in places like Norway and Sweden and Japan. So then it was a combination of, doing those kinds of things and also things where I was just, traveling, supporting my own original compositions and my own music and my own variations of jazz standards as a band leader, taking me all over the world. And I started to realize that no matter where I went, no matter what language people spoke, no matter what culture it was, no matter, the creed or all of the barriers that separate us as human beings are united by music. I could reach a person, in Africa, where I've been 9 times, that doesn't speak English, maybe even in some cases never even saw a Caucasian person, yet I could touch their soul with music and we could share common ground and all of the great emotions in life. And so this led up to the events of 9/11, and I happened to watch that from the roof of my building less than a quarter of a mile away, not realizing that I was one of very few people in the world who actually watched the whole thing live. At the time, I mean, you just don't know what you're seeing. But, as time has gone on, people are so fascinated that I actually witnessed it, from like a bird's eye seat on the roof of my building less than a quarter of a mile away. So that was when I started to realize that, if we fill our souls with creativity and artistry and things of that nature, these things that connect people, no matter where you're from, no matter who you are, and bring joy and enlightenment and love and beauty, inspire thought and intellect and all those things, we will have a better chance at avoiding the behavior that leads to destruction. And the arts and culture can play a big role. And that's when I started Jazz for Peace. And that's when the sentence I just told you was spoken off the top of my head in an interview and lifted by all of the famous quotes websites. So if you ever go on Google, and some people do that, they just write my name, Rick DellaRatta, and then they put famous quote, and thousands of websites come up with that quote, with those words that I just told you.
I do concur that music is universal language. It's like, math and love. Like, you don't have to understand the words to feel it because it taps into a different part of you. So share with us how jazz, I mean, you started this quite young, right? How long have you been doing?
Well, I mean, I started playing the piano, let's say, at age 6, and I became a professional musician at around 13 because I was a paper boy. And while I was delivering the papers in my neighborhood, my homeroom teacher asked me to play in a band with his sons, playing in all the dance music for the school. A bunch of grown-ups said, hey, we need you in our band to play like private parties. Don't worry, we'll sneak you in and sneak you out because, minors weren't allowed. But, if they don't let the minor in, there's going to be no piano player in the band. So we'll take care of that for you. And then my mother wanted me to take over for her as a church organist. So that I've been a professional ever since then. And then 9/11 was in the year, as 2001 was when I started Jazz for Peace with a simple poem that then grew into all kinds of humanitarian activities taking me to, as you know, the country of Haiti and all kinds of places that I'm so amazed and honored to be able to be and, partner with their people and really make a difference together with the wonderful world.
Tell us about your experience in Haiti. As you know, I'm from Haiti, and we were talking about that offline earlier. Tell us about your experience once you landed there that year.
So I landed in Haiti, and the first thing that happened was there was nobody. It was bedlam at the Haiti airport. Like nothing like you've really seen at, your average airport. Just all kinds of people around there and kind of confusing. And I didn't know what to do because I couldn't find the people that were supposed to pick me up, And I was like, oh boy, this could be who knows what I'm headed for here on this trip, So I walked up to a guy who actually had one eye. He had a patch over his eye. He had lost his eye in the devastation of that earthquake. You remember the earthquake in Haiti? So yeah. So I walked up to him and I said, hey, I don't know where these people are to pick me up. My phone, I couldn't, it wasn't able to call anybody, because of the change in the countries and all that stuff. And, you needed, another kind of a phone to make a phone call to these people. So we were just, I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm just kind of trusting the situation, hoping for the best. So he said, well, where are you staying? Well, I need to go to this place. He said, it was a bed and breakfast. He said, I know where that is. I can take you there. He said, I know those people. I said, wow, how do you know them? He said, because they have a church, and that church is incredible music comes out of that church. The person who owns that is a pastor, and he has a church, and I go to his church, and the music is amazing. This man loves music. So I said, wow, that's a good sign, right? So now he drives me to that place. I go in there, and I go to the check, where you check in. I say, hi, I'm, Rick DellaRatta and blah, 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 and I'm supposed to stay here. And the woman goes back. Wait, I have to talk to somebody. She talks to somebody. And now the guy comes out front and he says, sir, you are on a mission from God. Your entire stay here is free, including meals. That's just so that changed things from the dark ages where I couldn't even find my people. Now I'm like, okay, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Looks like things are back on track here. What happened to the people that were supposed to pick me up at the airport? You know what I mean? Because I still haven't seen them. So he says, listen, relax, go here. We have a little swimming pool. Get yourself comfortable. We'll find out what happened at the airport. So then 2 hours later, I hear they're coming. They could not get to the airport. There was traffic. There was huge traffic jam, which as Haiti, Port-au-Prince, Haiti, you can get. And, that's what it is. Backed up. Things are topsy-turvy. And they couldn't get. They were trying to get to the airport, but they couldn't get to the airport. And they couldn't reach me and I couldn't reach them. Now they show up at the place where I'm staying, the bed and breakfast. Yeah, they show up there. And they said, listen, we got to get going right away. We need you right away. I said, okay, because the concert wasn't until the next day. So there was a whole bunch of people, and I was like 13 of these people, and they're all traveling in a truck. And they said, now you can sit in the front. And I said, I wouldn't mind just sitting in the back with all these people, just hanging out with them, just because I said, okay, go stand in the back of the truck. You could stand in the back of this truck, like a pickup truck. There's all these Haitian guys in there. I said, so what are you guys doing? What's up? They said, we're just here. We're just with you today. We're just the excitement of me being here drew them to be a part of this. I said, okay. Yeah. And I didn't even know where we're going. Well, they're taking me to, and I'm going to cut this short, but I could go on all day, you know what I mean? But I can try to make it as short as I can. They took me to all these different radio stations and TV stations. Yeah. And they brought me in and they brought the proprietor out and they pointed to me. That's him. And then the proprietor gave them a date and time because the people couldn't believe that I was coming to help this little scholarship organization. They just couldn't believe it. And they were going to give me a time on their show until they actually saw me there in person. So the next day I had all these interviews, So you can see them at Jazz for Peace. You can go to
tell us about the sign. I know you were fascinated out when you got there.
Okay. Now I get to the concert. I go on the interviews. I get to the concert, and there's a big sign that says Jazz for Peace. JASS for peace, which, as most people know, the spelling is Jazz that we use for the word jazz. This said JASS. And I looked at that. I said, oh, my God. The only time I ever saw jazz spelled that way was a very traditional New Orleans band that a student friend of mine had put together, and he had studied, and he spelled it that way because he was a traditionalist and he wanted to get everything right and perfect. And he called his band the Bourbon Street Jazz Band, JASS. I contacted him. I said, what is going on here? When I got back from here, he said, that is the real spelling of jazz. And it comes from the Haitian word, JASS, the Creole word. And because jazz had, come from, people had come. I had recently played in Ghana, and Haiti looked exactly like Ghana. And I kept asking people, they said they didn't know that. Nobody knows that. Finally, they said, Rick, we found out why nobody knows that Haiti and Ghana look exactly alike, because they went and looked at pictures and said, wow, we didn't know. I said, hi, what? Because no one's ever been to Haiti and Ghana, both. You know what I mean? Maybe they've been to Haiti. Not many people have been to Haiti. Maybe they've been to Ghana. Also, not many. But so few people had ever been to both countries.
Yeah. Tell us about how we can help ourselves reach higher potential through jazz, because that's quite powerful.
So now what I'm doing now, Dr. Lunid, is I am advancing the mission of peace. Okay. So we got peace from great people, Dr. Martin Luther King, all of these Gandhi, all these people. We got it from the 60s movement and all that stuff, music. But now what I'm doing is I'm using the art form of jazz to benefit outstanding causes through the Jazz for Peace Foundation. So this organization in Haiti and 850 others received a grant from Jazz for Peace. Not only did they get a world-class cultural event at no cost to you, which is a big thing for an organization to get publicity and sponsors and raise funds and new and prestigious supporters and all these things that are part of our empowerment tree. Not only do they get that at no cost to you, a world-class cultural event, which is Jazz for Peace, now considered to be by many to be one of the most significant cultural events of our time. And so now they get all that for free. They also get the staffing, the guidance, all of the things that they need to make the event a success. Because you can give someone an event, they don't know how to run it. We have run 850 events, so they get all of our staffing and guidance and support to make it a success, which is why you see those incredible testimonials when you go to our website.
That is phenomenal. Tell us about your morning routine, because I imagine there are some disciplines you put in place to help you show up to be a better performer. How do you get up, dress up, and show up?
Yes, that's why I loved your title of your podcast, because nobody asked that. You're the only one that says, I think your morning routine can be life-changing, extremely inspiration. Now, I just got back from a morning routine in Utah, in the mountains of Utah, that started out with skiing. Mm-hmm. So basically, I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, or sometimes a little earlier, run out and catch a bus to the mountain, which was about 20 minutes away up a dangerous canyon road to, like 8,000 elevation. Then I would be on the tram at 9 o'clock, 14,000 elevation. And then I would take part in this epic activity of skiing at the expert level. And by 11 o'clock or so, I had the endorphins that had been raised so high. I mean, this was my day to mess up. You know what I mean? Only I could screw up this day, because I had had such an epic experience and was so inspired from my activity on these mountains that now I could come down to, start my music activities on an extraordinary high, that all I had to do was, keep that inspiration and positivity throughout the rest of my day. And now I've tried to repeat that here in New York. It's very hard to do something that uplifting in the morning, to be honest with you. But I've also found that swimming works very well. And sometimes many days, what I'll do, the very first thing I do is I will swim a mile.
Yeah, get the endorphins rolling. Moving the body first thing in the morning will give you more energy throughout the day. So thank you for sharing that. So tell us, how do we connect with you? How can we find you?
Well, you can find us at jazzforpeace.org is our official website. But the webpage that I was talking about earlier that has all of our testimonials, the empowerment tree, et cetera, it's actually just a simple WordPress site. It's jazzforpeace.wordpress.com/about, or you can just go to that and click on number 1 and it does it too, but /about. That takes you, jazzforpeace.wordpress.com/about. You'll be on a page where you can see the empowerment tree, see all the things that we bring to an outstanding cause, because money is not the solution. It's only part of the puzzle. So it's not only funds, but publicity and awareness from the event, sponsors at the local level and the national level, new and prestigious supporters, all these little branches that make up our empowerment tree. And we empower the organizations, inspire and enlighten them through this event. And we find out how good we did from their own testimonial in their own words.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing, Week. It's been nice having you on the show. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Dr.
Well, all right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time,